In today's mini episode of Not Nice Clever, we are giving you an event recap. We were just in New York at Sell It 2024, an event that Kat and I go to each year. And Kat actually was the co-MC for this event. And she didn't even tell me. So I just walked in and saw her on stage, killing
I
it
didn't
in her
tell
red
you?
pants. You did not tell me.
Oh,
So I just
shit. I'm
walked in
sorry.
and there she was just owning the room. And I was like, that's my girl up there. So it was super cool to be part of this event where real estate agents who are leveling up in their branding and their marketing are all coming together from around the world, talking about 2025 and what's next and how to really own their market. So, Kat, let's break it down. What are some of the things that you took away from that time with us?
Yeah. So I think the first session of the day was about owning your tech. And I feel like that is something that is so overlooked. But the farther and farther along in my career that I get, the more and more appreciative I get of processes and technology and software and things that help me get back my time, the more and more I expand. I think if you had asked me, like, how sexy is your tech stack, a few years ago, I'd be like, no, like, give me the clients, give me the people. Where am I getting paid, But I love it because Sirhan CTO Ryan Coyne, who we had on a guest episode earlier this year, by the way, we'll link that episode in the show notes because everyone who's a human can benefit from listening to Coin. It just was a great reminder and a great start to the day of making time to get your tech in order. So that was a big takeaway for me.
Tech has been such a game changer in how I even communicate with my clients and how I stay on top of things. So, quick story, my design studio in the summer, there was a month period where I didn't have as many clients as I'm used to having because people are on vacation, whatever, people are doing their thing, they're busy. And so my team is getting anxious, wait, where's our next client? I just went into my CRM and I emailed every person that I had a consultation with in 2023 who was interested, but maybe didn't say yes because of the investment. Right. And I had notes in my CRM about every person who I had a consultation with. I sent an email to them and 3 people signed.
Done.
One email. They're like, yep, I'm ready. Yes, yes, yes. I'm like, okay, I sent one email. And had I not had an organized CRM where I had notes about people who were interested, but it just wasn't the right time for whatever reason, I would have not been able to keep my team busy, right? And they're not happy about that. And so small things like that can really change the game in your business. And if you're not keeping those organized notes and you're not keeping an easy way to stay on top of your people, you're going to miss out. And there's so many other examples of tech that has kind of saved me and continued to propel my business forward. So y'all definitely listen to Coin's episode because he drops so many nuggets there. We'll drop it in the show notes for you.
Yeah. I think another big takeaway that was for me, and this is a reminder for everybody listening, whether you have met us in person once or a few times or never at all, make the time to be in person with the community you're building, with the relationships you're building online. I was telling Will because he was in New York ahead of me for an anniversary dinner that he was cooking for. And then he was kind of done with his work for the week as I was just ramping up and getting into New York for the event. And I told him, I was like, look, I'm not going to have a whole lot of time because this is my one chance to be in person with these people that I work with day in and day out. Not only, our team members at Sirhan and Sell It, but also our clients who, a few of which came from, like you said, Candace, around the world. Shout out to Jacob, who came all the way from Sweden. The moment he told me that, I was like, I'm not going to tell you how tired I am because of my baby 3-hour train ride. But he came right up to me and shook my hand. He's like, I just have to say how much I appreciate your content and all that you do. And Anna from Germany. And we had somebody else from Melbourne. How do you say that, Candace? I think it's Melbourne with the accent, but I don't have it. She's laughing at me. If you're,
I don't know.
Okay. She's laughing at me. Anyway, so that was another big takeaway. We've said it before, but being in person any chance you can. Yes, it's disruptive to your schedule. Yes, we're both introverts. Yes, I was exhausted. Yes, I Irish exited from the after party. Hard.
And I'm gonna
Hard
call you.
exit.
I'm gonna rat you out a little bit here, Kat.
Shit.
But you definitely found Dom and I during a happy hour, and we're like, okay, hide me for a few minutes.
I
We needed
did
a little bit of a
I was
break.
like, you're my unofficial bouncers. Nobody gets past you because of like your scariness and Dom like with the mafioso vibes.
Exactly.
I was like, I'm just gonna like hide.
And I just need to say that because there's no shame in that. I've definitely done that before. Kat needed a few minutes. Like she was emceeing, everyone wanted to talk to her. I get it. She needed a few minutes to herself. And we've all been there. So there's no shame if that's a place that you feel like you are at certain points throughout your day when you're at a networking event and you kind of feel overwhelmed. Totally fine. And you can also hear more tips on how to handle that in Chris Doe's episode where he talked about how he handles networking events as an introvert. He has some strategies there. So we'll drop we're linking back to a lot of previous episodes in this one, but it's important.
Along the theme of community, right? It's very on brand for this episode.
And Sell It is hosted by Ryan Serhant, or the Serhant Brokerage. Sell It. And so one of the things that Ryan says all the time is follow up, follow back, and follow through. And write that one down. It's a good one. But one of the things that practical tip that I always do before I go to a networking event is I go on my Instagram stories and I do an unofficial roll call, which makes sense because I'm a teacher, right?
Yeah,
so
your teacher
I
is
go
showing.
in there and I'm like, hey, I'm doing a roll call, and I put a poll up like who's going to be there. So ahead of the event, I know who's coming. So I knew that Jesus Valenzuela was coming from Cabo, and I just saw him in Cabo in May. I stopped by his brokerage, beautiful brokerage, by the way, Outlions. Definitely check it out. Went there, stopped by his brokerage. He gave me some advice on real estate, buying real estate as an American in Mexico, which so smart, super cool guy. And then I got to see him in New York just a few months later. And now we're just continuing to strengthen that relationship. I posted an appreciation post of him when I visited him in Mexico, and I tagged him in my story, and he did the same. And it really just allows both of us to expand our networks. So taking a roll call, commenting on all those people, actually DMing them that you will be there and you're excited to see them, then taking a picture with them in real life, posting that to your stories with a compliment, genuine only, obviously. And then when you get home, it's like, hey, Jesus, it was great to see you. Here's a couple things I snagged from our camera roll. Throw them to him, right? And now we're just opening that dialogue. So it's never weird for me to ask Jesus a question, never weird for me to send him some business, because we've talked enough to support one another in that way. And this is that pregnancy, deep, heavy breathing. Sorry.
It's okay. It's really not that bad. And I would tell you if I'd be like, Candace, I'm like, please step away from the mic, just like a little bit farther back. No, you're good.
Sorry.
You're good. It's okay. Not sorry. We're not sorry. We're not nice. Sometimes we are remorseful. But anyway, yes, I totally agree. Which, by the way, can you send me the photos that you took of us? Because I don't think I got those yet.
I will send those your way.
Your selfie arm angle is just like 11 out of 10. So another takeaway from the event, two of my favorite people, one of which we have had on this podcast and one of which we are figuring out when we can have him on the podcast, Mallory and Brandon Bogard. They are brokers out of Manhattan. They have the Bogard team. But what I love about them, so they presented about owning your team, right? And I love, love, love that in their presentation, they talked about, they're like, by the way, if you want to start a team, just understand that you're signing up to do more work. It is not less work. When they said that, I was like, I found Brandon backstage. I was like, thank you so much for saying that, because I feel like people think that it's this glorious thing to build a team in real estate or just in general. But really, it's not. The team doesn't work for you. You work for them. Like if they are successful, it's because of them. If they fail, it's because of you. And so I just love that they like ripped that Band-Aid off. I love that they talked about the 8 crucial things that you need for a foundation before you even think about bringing on somebody. We're all about, the correct order of operations in building your brand, in expanding your network. And so I just shout out to the two of them. Their presentation was fantastic. It was super, I was taking notes. I was like, oh shit, I had 5 of those 8 things before I started building. But I think it was super, super impactful. Reach out to them, follow them on Instagram. We're going to link them in the show notes as well. They're just amazing, amazing people. But I really did have a lot of takeaways from their session too. What about you, Candace?
I think that one of the things that sticks out the most is the panel that Talia McKinney was on, along with our good friend Justin Konikow, who we've also had on the podcast. But Justin said something to me that was just like, oh, this is so perfect. I'm going to say this a million times after this.
Okay.
And so he was on the panel and said, a black belt is just a white belt who didn't give up.
Ooh.
And I was just like, oh, I'm going to use that so many times. I know it in my coaching. I'm going to bring that up because that is the thing. So many people look at people that they admire and say, wow, they were just born special or talented or different. And although I do believe we're all special in our own right, I don't think there's anything that makes someone, born to be successful or not. I think that it's just a decision. It's a choice. You just decide to every single day put one foot in front of the other and make a decision, make a choice, see the outcome, collect the data, and move forward. And so if you could just think about yourself as that little white belt who's just never going to give up and eventually make it to that black belt status, I think it's just a helpful visualization. And I will be repeating that till the end of time.
Yeah. It's so true. And I love that we had that panel, Talia, Justin. It was moderated by our dear friend and team member, Anissa, which was so cool to like see her on stage and like own, all the work that she's put in. It's just, it was great. It was like a great feeling and truly like evidence that birds of a feather flock together. And that you winning does not mean somebody else is losing, and that we can all find ways to like win and support one another together. I've always admired how abundantly minded Ryan and the people he surrounds himself with are, us included. And so that was really special. Definitely needed to recharge heavily. After I Irish exited from the after party, Will and I went to dinner and we just kind of like sat in like companionable silence. And he just like rubbed my back and I was just like, he was like, are you okay? I was like, recharging. He's like, okay. So it's great to have people that understand that.
Our advice to you is get in the room with people who are doing the damn thing. Don't be afraid of connecting in real life and putting yourself out there. It's 2024 and I really think 2025 is the year we're finally coming out of that pandemic slump of where we were in our homes for far too long, and it really is time to connect in real life again. So put a few things on your calendar for next year. Maybe challenge yourself with one event per quarter that you're going to go to and commit to growing alongside people. Thanks for joining us on Not Nice, Clever.
Remember to follow Not Nice, Clever wherever you listen to audio.
And if you haven't already, drop that 5-star review.
Share your takeaways. Tell us your story. We love to hear it.
Signing off, your not so nice, but oh so clever besties that mean business.
See you soon.